everyone, AlphaSoul here and welcome to another video. So today's video is a quick update for early October on what has been going on with Ashes of Creation. Now the point of this video is to catch some people up who may not have been following too closely and just to kind of understand what's been going on in the past month and a half or so. So there is a good amount of news, so without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get started with the very first bit. Now, the first piece of information, probably the most important, is that Ashes of Creation Apocalypse has entered early access. Now, early access essentially means that it's been released to the public. It's still kind of like in a testing phase-ish, and they're still gathering data, making quick fixes, but it is released to the general public. Now, this is very important for many reasons if you are not following it. To start off, it's the Battle Royale. Right? I get a lot of people don't like the Battle Royale, they don't like the direction of the Battle Royale, but it is the direction that Ashes of Creation and Intrepid have taken in terms of their milestones for development and when they actually release things. So the reason why it's so important is because it means that persistent servers are up and running. Persistent servers is a thing that Intrepid has been trying to accomplish and get up and running since I think towards the end of last year. So we're finally at that point where these are running. That means that, you know, they're constantly testing, they're constantly iterating, they're able to look at systems and how they interact. For example, the website with the game, with, you know, the purchasing model, you can see all those things in action, and it's very helpful for their development. This is a big portion of the, I guess you could say, of the back end and the fruits of that back end labor. So seeing this all in action is a good thing, especially from the MMO aspect, because if you, in layman's terms, if you really were to look at it another way, the MMO will be, as far as back-end structure goes, multiple instances of those Battle Royale maps, if you will. Obviously, it's not going to be the same map transposed, but think of those as mini worlds and you snap together and put those together to make the overall grand MMO. And so the back-end structure that allows for that is up and running, and it is working pretty well so far. There's a couple bugs that they, you know, obviously have to work out, and there are many hot fixes that they've been going on, but I genuinely think it's trending in the positive direction. So you know, I'm looking at this as a measure. Let's see how they squash bugs. They're on a 2-week cycle right now, and they're pretty rapidly releasing fixes. The one thing that I'm hoping that this does not do is take away from any of the development that's going on with the MMO kind of on a concurrent basis. So they've said that it's not doing it, and you know, we'll see actually how it goes by, you know, obviously when we get the MMO. So that is what it is. The second news is that Castle Siege is next on the horizon. We don't have an exact date for Castle Siege. The speculation is that we'll begin testing it more than likely before the end of the year. You know, it's been stated that it's far along, they're doing tweaks and things of that nature, but I think that when Castle Siege is released, it'll be better just because it'll take some of the focus off the Battle Royale. It's a unique mode that really isn't around. I think it'll generate a lot more buzz than the Battle Royale has, so it'll be very positive. Now the third, this is a really important piece that I think a bunch of people actually missed. If you've been following, when Apocalypse went into early access, and as it's been in early access, the crew at Intrepid has gone through and they've been doing live streams and streaming their play, and they've been doing things like giving away mounts to people who can kill Steven. But one of the things that Steven said on one of the streams, and I'm gonna do my thing and try and link it down below. On one of the streams, what he specifically said was, more than likely what they will do is you know, release Castle Siege, and then after that they will target releasing Alpha 1 of the MMO, right? Which is a pretty big thing because the previous timeline, and I'm going to try and get a picture of that up, had always been, you know, persistent Battle Royale, and persistent Castle Siege, and then persistent Horde mode, and then Alpha 1. And the goal of those was to kind of be, you know, Battle Royale was to test a lot of key systems, whereas, you know, the Castle Siege was to, you know, test objectives, the castle, you know, takeover within nodes and structural damage, things of that nature, whereas Horde mode was supposed to test like NPC, I'm forgetting the term, but NPC logic and AI basically is what it was supposed to test. So the fact that they're going for this is pretty interesting. It's good for me. I mean, obviously, I would like to see the MMO sooner rather than later, and it really does kind of switch things as far as a timeline goes. And I genuinely, and this is just my speculation, if that is the case and they keep along with that, and again, it's just, you know, kind of spitballing it. That's not a hard, concrete date. But if that holds, then it's possible we may see the Alpha 1 of the MMO in spring of next year, just based on a rough timeline. I'm not privy to any information, so don't hold me to that or anything like that. But wishful thinking. The next kind of group was, you know, with early access, there were a bunch of competitions. The first one, or I guess you could say prizes and things like that. But the first one was anyone who reached level 7 during the first weekend was eligible for an Emberstorm Dragon Mount skin that you can see on the screen. It is, I thought it looked pretty cool, and level 7 was really nothing. I heard some people saying, oh, it was so hard, but honestly, if you finished your quests from the 2 weeks that, you know, kind of led up to it, you were perfectly fine. And they even extended the date that you could get access to that. I think they extended by a couple days to that mount. So, you know, if you somewhat put in any decent effort, you didn't have to spend a dime, you would get that mount, basically. And then the other prize is still ongoing right now, and that is the Armor of the Autumn Night, which is kind of like this Halloween themed. It's got this cool mask and everything like that, orangey. If you hit level 50 by the end of October, you will be eligible for this free armor, basically, that comes along with it. I am almost level 30, and I haven't spent a single, you know, Ember on levels or anything like that. So I've been playing usually, I'd say like 5 to 10 matches a day and completing quests as they go along, just to kind of keep my experience up, and I've been, you know, chugging along. So I'm pretty confident I'll hit that well before the end and get that armor. So if that armor interests you, hop into Ashes of Creation, play the game, and you know, earn it. Now, the final bit of news is regarding the creation of the Tidebreaker article that they released. The Tidebreaker is a mount that was previously purchasable, and they showed how the animators create it, and there's a storyline back through it. I suggest you read it. It's, you know, an interesting read. It's got a good bit of lore that kind of comes in. The main reason that I like those articles is the lore that is dropped. I actually have a separate wiki site that nobody has access to, just me, where I'm just putting lore together and tying it. I'm just interested in that kind of stuff. So it's something that I do. But anyways, that is the main updates for Ashes of Creation Apocalypse. Or not just Apocalypse, but Ashes of Creation in general. I think the release of the early access puts us that much closer to the actual MMO. And once we get into the MMO itself, I think a lot of the blowback that you're seeing will subside into the distance, if you will, once people have the MMO, are playing and are critiquing that as opposed to Battle Royale mode. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, leave them for me. I'll be happy to answer them, and that's it. All right, I'll be continuing to play some more Battle Royales and releasing some videos where, you know, I go over some of my gameplay, and it'll be fun. All right, thank you guys, take care of yourselves, and guys have a great day. Alpha Soul out.